be a little too loud. Do you prefer the mic or do you prefer just speaking? All right, all right. I'll move this away. So I'll. All right, for sure. All right. Sorry, I didn't get your name, sir. Patrick. All right. Well, I'm Matthew Abraham. I'm an associate management analyst with the County of Santa Clara's SEPA branch. Yeah. Yeah, we might have another another person. But yeah, to start off, we are this is a community meeting. We will be discussing rate changes, and again, any rates that are on these sheets will be the maximum rates, so you will not be charged more than the rate set forth in this presentation. So that's just something that's a courtesy. It's also required by law by Prop 218. And so if maybe there might be another person joining us. Yeah. Oh, for the shelter. All right, let's get started then. Awesome. So again, kind of subject to change. I mean, presentation may take 5 or 10 minutes depending on questions, but again, so we already introduced ourselves. I'm Matt Abraham. This is Clifton Chu. We're with SEPA. We'll give about a 10 or so minute presentation, and we have until about 7 for answering any questions, and then we'll adjourn this meeting. So we're hoping that this meeting is quick, informative, and yeah. All right, so to begin, the current franchise agreements expire June 30th of next year. These agreements were agreed upon in 2015, is that correct? So they are every 10 years. So the next time we'll see a change will be in 2035. These agreements were, they have a really distinct process. They're started off by request for proposal. And so this process started in 2023. And 3 proposals were received by the March 18th, 2024 deadline. And in between March and I guess now, or until October 8th, we were analyzing these proposals, and we, through analysis, made a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors on October 8th for Recology, Green Waste, and Green Team, these haulers to serve the districts as listed above. And sorry? Right. So we received a proposal from Recology, but the actual haulers chosen were Green Waste and Green Team. My apologies. As for District South, you will be served by Green Waste, so no changes there. So here's again a map of the districts and which haulers serve which district. Again, the only notable change is that Recology in District East, District East will no longer be served by Recology. It will now be served by Green Waste.
So, ask the question right now, Recology is losing territory.
The question was that, yes, Recology is essentially losing territory. Yes. At least until 2035, and then we have to have new proposals. But as of now, yes. And so, should this be 7/1/25? Apologies, this is not 7/1/24. This should say services available to each household starting July 1st, 2025. So we'll make that correction right now. These are the services. These are the service changes and enhancements that are reflected in the proposed rates. So you will receive the addition of, right here, 1 free bulky goods collection per year. And another notable change is that there is 1 waste drop-off event and 1 landfill voucher for disposal of large items and limited e-waste annually. And the reason why we made this change was because we only had a 15% utilization for the drop-off event. And as for the vouchers, 19% of trash vouchers were utilized and 15% of yard waste vouchers were utilized. As for the vouchers themselves, we are allowing three organics carts at no additional cost, and the cost, again, is offset by other ratepayers in this district. You will receive up to 5 additional carts at a cost of $3 each as part of these changes. And so, do we have any questions so far about the service changes?
Ask questions as we go, or hold until
Should we hold till the end? You may probably hold till the end, right? All right. So, again, these are kind of the important dates. As I mentioned before, the current rates for waste collection, your current rates will expire June 30th of next year. And your new rates will start July 1st of next year. The board is scheduled to vote on these proposed rates on December 10th of this year. If these new rates are approved, they will again be effective July 1st, 2025. So apologies for that error on that one slide that said 2024. And our process for adjusting these rates are made annually on July 1st based on CPI or Consumer Price Index changes. I'm sorry?
Yes. Yes, but it's this time we're averaging rather than using an end of year date for the CPI. Now it's effective yearly net percentage.
Yeah, so there is just a slight deviation with how we calculate CPI. Now we're calculating it based on the average rather than point to point.
And July is the new rate start date.
Yes, July will be the new rate start date. And annual increases are capped at 5%. Of course, CPI typically never gets to above really 5%. Maybe happen once, but we will be very clear that it's never going to go above 5%. So these are the new District South maximum residential rates. Again, maximum. And as you might notice, these are actually a few cents decrease from your current rates. So, yeah. And some key definitions for low income as well as flat land and hard to serve. So low income rates are 60% less than the proposed rate and can be applied to customers who qualify for PG&E's California alternate rates for energy program. And hard to serve customers are based out of a service location whose regular collection of garbage, recyclable materials, and organics requires the use of a smaller truck due to difficult collection conditions. This doesn't really apply to District South, yeah.
Very few, it's mainly applied to the east and west where there's some mountainous terrain and some weight restrictions on some of the coverts where they can't drive a normal truck to get access to people's homes. And that can get into smaller, lighter trucks to be able to access those. But the South County area really doesn't have that. Greenways doesn't even show it.
Right. Yeah.
We're all here because of that item. Which one? Because of that hard to serve item. Because even though we're from the South County, we do live on a hillside.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So hard to serve, explicitly speaking, is a very special occurrence, and very, very few customers outside of District West actually are District East as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It is narrower than a certain distance. Find traffic.
Yes, so hard to serve, just to give some context, in District West, think of the Los Altos Hills area, that's about a quarter of the people there. But in District South, it's very, very negligible. There are, I think, a few customers who are hard to serve.
Freeways, they don't even for South County, they don't even find how hard to serve.
Right, because you won't find it in the south end. So for active qualify for hard to serve, to be able to them to charge you a hard to serve rate, the lane has to be narrower than 13 feet.
Yeah.
Right, there's no center striping, there's an overhead canopy, trees, electrical wire, that doesn't allow passage of 14 feet or more. There's switchback and hairpin turns, steep hills and winding roads, dead end roads, turnarounds, single lane bridges, and bridges or roads with weight restrictions of 28 tons empty or 37.5 tons full. So if any of those occur, then they will have to be smaller.
Right. So hard to serve is a very hard bar.
Decades without having to clear that.
Correct.
And I just wonder if there's any, do they have to let you guys know?
Yes,
Areas are being-
they must let us know, exactly. Yes.
So if like our houses have been served with regular trucks for 4 decades, and the road that hasn't changed, I suspect that they probably won't be able
They
to.
won't be allowed to change that. If they do, let us know.
Yes.
But they won't, they're not allowed to change the service roads unless they use one of these.
Right.
A simple line that we could paint on.
One of these.
Yes.
So that they can drive a regular truck through, they obviously will, because it requires a special, not special, but they require additional manpower, additional route another truck, just for that special, they'd rather not. So if they can pick up a regular truck, that's what they. So you won't see it normally in the South County area, you'll see it more in the East Hills and the West Hills area.
When you say not normally, what would be the exception? It may be the exception.
The exception is private roads. So if you have a private road, there's restrictions on the private road for weight. And so if you don't have a private road,
But we have a private road, right?
you have to get them to, they sign a waiver saying that they won't be charged damages for that private road, so.
We're probably going to follow the concern.
Right.
But whoever's been the contractor who's been serving with us for decades.
Yeah, essentially, again, hard to serve in terms of District South is essentially a formality. It's maybe there might be like one,
These are two accounts.
2 accounts that are, yeah, out of thousands of accounts, there's maybe 2. So yeah. No worries. No.
Yeah.
Of course.
Everything now, just show everybody all the, whatever is occurring, because by the law, you have to show, for transparency sake, all the different permutations and everything that. And things that occur. So there are people that are trying to get, you have to show it.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply to 98% of people, but we still have to tell them, because we still mail this letter out to everybody that's affected.
Is there a definitive way for the customer to know whether they're in a hard to serve?
They have to contact the Holland Special Coverage Company, because that's how they bill. And so you ask them what your bill is and what the rate is, and then you can find out what it is. And then if you have, issues, then you come to us the county, and then we'll investigate that.
Awesome. So we'll move on. These will be the maximum rates for commercial and multifamily properties for next year, or the next 10 years rather.
Well, as of July.
As of July 1st. Okay, as of July 1st, 2025. And we've defined multifamily rates as those used for residences with 5 or more units. All right. And we have, of course, differing rates regarding, more pickups and more carts. So this is kind of a matrix of what we will charge. Okay.
The next couple slides are continuation with that.
Yeah. And so the next couple slides, again, a continuation of this matrix. And then these relate to cubic yards of waste.
The other one was for cars.
Mhm. Yes. All right. So these next two slides will be about the protest and public hearing information. So we must receive any protest letters by 5 p.m. on December 9th of this year to be counted. They must include the following: a date the letter was written, your name, address, city, zip code, and an indication of what you're protesting. It can be as long or as short as you want, but you must indicate what exactly you are protesting for this to be counted. And it's important to note that simply participating in this community meeting itself is not a form of protest. You must follow these steps. And this is the Integrated Waste Management Services address. You can send them through mail or you can email us. Either way, we will accept those as long as they follow the conditions listed above. Okay. And then if you want to participate in the public hearing, the Board of Supervisors will hold one on December 10th, 2024, no earlier than 10 a.m. You can attend through two options, either in person at the County of Santa Clara Board of Supervisors chambers or online through Zoom. Comment at the public hearing will not be included in the final count of protests. So again, the formal protests must be received by mail or email at 5 p.m. December 9, 2024. And so you can either, again, attend in person at the chambers at the 70 West Heading Street in San Jose. And then the next slide will be how to access via Zoom. So it is admittedly a little complicated, but we'll go through this process. So there is this website, and if you scroll down to this remote public participation section, there will be a meeting link for the Zoom under December 10th. The reason why it says November 5th is because the December 10th meeting Zoom link is not posted yet. It's maybe in about a couple weeks it might be available, but for sure in time for the meeting, you will have access to the Zoom link. And so you can either click on the link or you can call into the meeting at the phone number provided via Zoom. And yeah, so I guess that's the presentation. If you want to ask any questions, then now's the time. So yeah.
I think you've answered most of them. We were most
Yeah.
concerned just because the difference between the 5-minute rates and
Right.
And it wasn't self-responding for that.
For sure.
And even though it's probably been there for a while, we've never been charged it.
Right.
We're in an HOA, but we're in an HOA together.
Right.
They are informal HOA. We all scratch our heads. What is it? That's right for here. But I guess it's been there for a while, but
Right.
say in the South County, never.
It hasn't been an issue.
Hasn't been an issue, right?
And so if it doesn't become an issue, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
So when we first got the letter, I thought, well, maybe we want to go to this informational meeting. And I logged on or whatever, and I thought, first time I logged on, it was in November 14th.
Yes, we had an intake date for Zoom.
I understand how that happens, but that might be why you have no attendance.
Well, what
Right.
about?
Yes.
We get the dates and stuff on that.
Yeah.
And that was one for, we have another meeting down the east side. So we're gonna make sure that the name and date and time. So the last.
Thank you. So you're having another meeting here?
No, we have, it'll be held in the district that it will be effective. So we have one for this district south, which is here. There's a current meeting at the same time actually in the west. And then there'll be one typically in tomorrow. Depending on the district you're in, that's where the meeting.
I have more attendance.
Right.
Not everybody's gonna check twice.
Right.
Wait a minute. And I was on the call and said it was a meeting tonight.
Right.
And, I thought, well, I have to leave a message, am I ever gonna hear back? And I did.
I think that, oh, actually, I think.
Yeah, maybe, but it wasn't very reassuring to
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Our apologies on that. Right.
sharing.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. All right.
So, since we're here, we were, we were like preparing, oh, what are these services? And go, oh, stuff, right?
Right.
We were kind of trying to think, oh, what should we ask and so on. And maybe some of those questions are still just working.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have the floor. So, yeah.
Charge for the hard disturbance.
It's rated the back because they happen to do the smaller truck and everything else. They, that, if they buy additional truck, it's just like another driver and everything else. So the cost is a little bit higher as a result, as you're doing a special.
Who proposing that rate is it all?
Oh.
Because, we were trying to think, okay, well, smaller truck is gonna cost less, probably more fuel efficient.
Smaller trucks require more trips because it holds less.
Yeah.
So they have to make more trips to get their value.
I could see that if the density was the same,
If the density is there.
right? In our location, we're very small, it's all minimum 20-acre lots. So, like, small truck, even the big trucks, they don't fill them all up. They come up to our location, and then they go down to the flatland and fill them up. So our hillside area doesn't fill the
Right, and that makes it part of the efficiency, how they design the route. Because they have a special truck, that efficiency drops, and that's why it's more expensive. That's another reason why it's more expensive.
I mean, that's what I was trying to go through it. I can understand that, but I can come up with other things like, well, like in an urban area, the density is pretty dense. So they might only be able to get, a dozen blocks before they're filled and they gotta go back.
Right.
In that case, they're making more trips to the same neighborhood or having to send more trucks out at the same time than in the rural area. So that's where I was thinking, well, if somebody were to actually cost this out, a budget analyst were to maybe cost this out, or even take the hauler's data from our last, period and say, does it really cost them more
Right.
service?
The unincorporated is actually not a dense area, it's,
Right.
500 over here.
Yeah.
300 over here, and, and that's what unincorporated is all about, whatever is not part of the city. And so it's not an efficient route, and you can't really run because that's the way the city annexes and that follows up. So there's a large dense build out, they get annexed by the city, and all of a sudden becomes very inefficient. And that's what's unincorporated, unfortunately, is less of it. It's
Well,
inefficient.
No, I can understand that, and I can see where either the density could make it more efficient, or it might cause you to have to run extra. And so where I was getting at, that's why I asked, who actually determines that rate, and how do they determine it? You guys ever, like, look over their numbers and say,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay, we see it actually does cost you guys more.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause, I mean, their rates are almost double.
Right. That's because they have to have a special truck just for that.
Mm-hmm.
And for just a few accounts, that's very, very inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they put as much as you can on that route, but they'll charge flatland rates using that small truck. But that means they can't pick up as much as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a trade-off that they have to have because they have to have that route. So the more they have, the more costly it becomes. Because based on inefficiency of the unincorporated area. So,
Out of curiosity, do you know if Recology is keeping the city of Gilroy?
yes, because that one is not up for, each contract period is different by jurisdiction, so that's managed by the city of Gilroy, so I'm assuming that they're, they did put it up to bid, and they will whenever their contract expires, but I don't know when that date is.
Well, it's just interesting. We live in Gilroy mailing address. And our friends that live in Gilroy City have Recology and
Yes.
different rules, different,
Well, is there, I think they're unlimited, are they, issues like
I
that?
don't know. I don't ask. I don't want to know.
Yeah, and that's why I said, they put it out the bid, and whoever makes the bid, we evaluate the bids that come in, and for the best price and for what the services they offer, we try to make the most economical for our residents.
But you don't have a lot of bids to choose from.
We
Right.
Yeah, like you see, West, you only got one, so.
Yeah.
This time we got two, and, so we even got a decrease, which is good, pardon. Yeah, so we were quite impressed, it's because of the efficiency.
I think we have the right answer. Now, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Right.
It's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate it. Awesome. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Yeah.